We use the thermometer for telling when the syrup is done. As you know, the boiling point of water changes, the barometric pressure changes. And as long as you're 7 degrees above the boiling point, you don't care what the boiling point is. And you know you're going to be right.
The most common way of checking the exact density of the syrup is with a hydrometer. When it floats in the cup, right at the red line, it's time to draw off. The next step is filtering the hot syrup to remove the nitre or sugar sand which appears in the syrup near the end of boiling.
And we draw it off in the bucket, and we take it over and pour it in the filter tank. We use a pre-filter underneath, 2 regular felt filters, and then a pre-filter on top. So it's well filtered. The syrup comes out clear and sparkling.
When we're canning the syrup, I help put the lids on the cans.
The last step in the production process is bottling or canning. Whether the syrup is bottled for immediate sale or put in large cans or barrels for packaging later, it must be bottled hot, at least 180 degrees to keep it from spoiling.
My favorite part of the hard work is fueling the fire up, or feeding the hippos, we call it. It's a big job. We put huge logs, just big around 4 feet long. Every 15 minutes, 10 or 12 of them. And just burning down the ashes. 1 cord every 25 gallons of syrup. You say it takes a lot of wood. Got to split it and stack it all year. And then eventually in March, you use it and it starts all over again.
Although the basic process of making maple syrup has changed little over the last century, there have been many labor and energy-saving devices that have come along to benefit the producer and consumer alike. While the wood-fired evaporator is still in use, more and more producers are using oil or gas-fired evaporators. Because it takes, on the average, about 40 gallons of sap to make a gallon of syrup, equipment suppliers and producers have developed devices to reduce the time it takes and make the process more efficient. Reverse osmosis machines force water out of the sap to make it more concentrated before it enters the evaporator, thus reducing the number of gallons that have to be evaporated away. Preheaters use steam from the evaporator to raise the temperature of cold sap before it enters the flue pan to save boiling time. Filter presses allow large producers to filter their syrup quickly and ensure the highest clarity.
My favorite part is doing the syrup. I like to can it, take it from the evaporator and can it, and then I like to ride the four-wheeler back and look at the sap in the big tank.
In spite of modern improvements, however, there's a lot about making maple that goes back to tradition and history. The Indians looked forward to the maple moon each spring, and farmers have always eagerly awaited their first crop, maple syrup. It's the kind of hard work that gets under your skin.
Well, I started here when I was probably 2 years old, coming down here with my dad. And I know the first few years I was a nuisance and in the way. And Dad tolerated me, and I suppose eventually I got so I helped a little bit. And we've been here every year since. That was where I started there, was back when I was 2 years old. It would have been about 74 years ago.
Yes, this woods has been tapped for well over 100 years. I knew the gentleman that had it before me, and he'd tapped it for 60 years himself. And he just really enjoyed it here, and his daughter had the place after him, and she wanted to continue on being a sugar bush, and she gave me the chance to buy it. And so we've really enjoyed it back here.
Farmer and sugar maker Tim Broadback tells how, for him, it's a real family affair.
One of the things we like about the syrup making operation is it gives our children a chance to work side by side with their parents. They learn a lot about work, but not only that, they're having a lot of fun getting out here in the woods, and I think they enjoy working with their mom and I. When I look back at my childhood, I remember working with my parents a lot. I don't remember the work. I just remember a lot of the memories and the fun time that we had, and we're trying to incorporate that in our business. Some of the jobs our kids do back in the woods is they'll go and put the spiles in the holes that I drill with a tap, but they'll come through and stretch the lines and actually put the spiles in the tree. Other jobs is after we're in the sugar making season is they'll come back and help me check for vacuum leaks, and if I use all tubing and if the line pulls apart somewhere, they can help me locate that and just inspect for animal damage or things like that. And they're a great help to save my feet a lot of walking. And when we get back to the sugar house, they help with a lot of times if it's no more than keeping me company, or they help me can the syrup a lot. They like to do that. And cleaning up, they're good hands at that.
Maple season is a special time for all who know and love the taste of real maple. Most producers welcome visitors to their sugar houses. There they can see and smell the wonderful aroma of real maple being made. Many communities and nature centers have festivals where they have tours and demonstrations of the maple making process. They also provide an opportunity to sample maple products other than syrup, like candy and cream and fudge.
I like to eat the hard candy. My favorite is maple sugar candy.
Sugar maker Joyce Haig tells about the candy making process.
Sap has to be reduced the same old way. It has to be water taken out of the sap to make syrup. And same way as more water taken out to make the sugars and creams and things like that. We make the sugar leaves, and we make the granulated sugar, which is usually made from a little darker syrup, but has a little more robust flavor. And when you granulate that, it really comes out with a really true maple flavor. The syrup for the cream, which is the first and lightest and thinnest confection, we cook up to about between 232 and 235. I cool that in cold water, ice water usually, and covered so that you don't have crystals in it. And then we stir it in a special machine called a cream machine. And this has to be handled quite carefully. Then the next step would be the soft candy would be cooked up to about 235, 236, and poured out in a pie tin and hand stirred. Takes a little bit of elbow grease, and your hand can get tired. And someone who I tried to teach said, yeah, and you can get blisters too. And then the next step would be to cook it to 240, and that is for the sugar cakes. And when we do granulated sugar, we cook it about as far as you dare go without burning it. That usually is around 250. It is a craft, takes a lot of practice to do it and have it turn out. And even I have mistakes every once in a while. I had one the other day. I tried to make fudge and I had a boo-boo, and you don't have to waste that though. If you cook something into something and it doesn't turn out right, you can remelt it and redo it, use it for cooking or whatever. It just is not wasted. Don't ever throw it away.
Maple sugaring is a springtime tradition that yields a delicious natural product. Nothing is added, only water is taken away. You can find cheaper imitations, but if it's real maple, there's nothing else listed in the ingredients. Compare the labels to see what it doesn't contain. Pure maple syrup, a springtime tradition. This program was brought to you by the Michigan Maple Syrup Association. For more about maple, history, resources, or recipes, visit our website at mi-maplesyrup.com.